Yeah, so if you want to lose weight and gain energy, the one thing I've learned, at least through my own experience, 30 some odd years of daily juicing, you just get the juicer out and you make the juice and you take the juice with the enzymes. That way you can displace the coffee, which, I know that, I mean, we will justify. There's probably videos out there, the benefits of heroin, the benefits of cocaine, the benefits of cigarettes, the benefits of weed, and everything else under the sun. So of course they're going to the benefits of coffee and all this stuff. It's like, but the people are tired, they're burned out, so obviously they don't have any energy. So they're saying my diet is amazing, whatever they do, and then here's your daily coffee, the healthy coffee with no mold on it or whatever, organic coffee and all this stuff, right? But still, you got to use the coffee as a stimulant to thin the blood. So if you could drink juice and displace the coffee, you'll get the same effects, which is but a slow and steady effect of the enzymes and the juice that opens up the blood vessels and allows for that circulation, which is the reason why people use coffee. Number one, it just stimulates, and that dilates the blood vessels. Then the blood gets deeper into the brain and kind of activates those centers. But what you really want is a non-stimulating blood flow to the brain. You don't want to use stimulants just to get blood flow to the brain. That's going to end up being, dementia and addiction. You're not going to be able to function without the coffee, but if you could slowly wean off by just utilizing some fresh, non-stimulating and yet nourishing and hydrating, which also works as a solvent to keep the microscopic blood vessels clear. And the more living that food is, the better. Like if you take grass, wheatgrass for most people, I just go out and harvest the wild grass because I know which ones taste good. And I take the wild grasses and just cut them, put them through my juicer, and then I put that with fresh coconut water, and that is going to be the electrical conductive elements that then really keep the blood thin. The enzymes keep the blood thin. The juice keeps the blood thin. The enzymes has properties that the juice doesn't, for the coagulated, sticky stuff. After many years of processed, cooked food, you get a sticky, waxy residue, which eventually turns calcareous. So that's why I say jump on it now, folks. Jump on the juicing and the enzymes now, before it's too late. And I made this example. People get it when I say this, that you'll take this greasy food. Now you use enzymes, which is soap, to clean the grease off the pan. You will use enzymes, which is the laundry detergent, to get the grease that comes out of your armpits and off of your skin and into your clothes to wash your clothes off. You'll use enzymes for that. But then when somebody is trying to help you with the antidote to our, when food became an art, so did medicine. And so instead of these harsh pharmaceuticals which suppress symptoms, the enzymes break down the coagulations that are the underlying blockages to blood flow, lymph, and joint mobility, and the free fascia, so that you remain hydrated and flexible as you mature in your life. But as soon as that stuff gets ossified and blocked, that rubber, that first it's a watery mucus, and then it becomes a more waxy, then rubberized, then calcareous over time as it gets more and more sclerotic and indurated due to a lack of the hydrating mineral conductive elements. So break that down and get that out of you while you still can. And then you use body work, colonics, yoga, rebounding, weightlifting, cycling, movement, sunlight, water, fresh air, breathing exercises, lots of movement, lots of flexibility. That's why I love yoga. I view yoga as fitness too. I mean, I love these classes. I've got a couple of different studios I go to, and I practice at home too. But I just love the stretching with the yoga. And my favorite is just walking, cycling, swimming. Went swimming today. The gym, movement. But you have to have that energy. That's why when you just drink the juice, it's instant energy. Now, if you're too dirty inside, you'll have to lower the sugar content, and you'll have to go more on the green. So you start more on the low sugar green. But as you get more on a higher vibration and the sludge gets cleaned out of there, you can do things like drink more of the orange juice, more of the watermelon. So at first you start with the celery, the cucumber, the herbs, the parsley, the wheatgrass, the coconut, the low sugar stuff, high mineral. But then later on, the strongest solvents are the citrus. The grapefruit is like amazing. It's right in the middle between sweet and solvent. The lemon, the lime, the orange to a lesser degree with the astringent type properties, but the sweetness of the orange is ecstasy. And like a 32-ounce jar of orange juice is a meal. It's food. And then you take a few enzymes with that. Then you've got the solvent properties, and you've got the components in the enzymes that are breaking down all the coagulated debris, which is the reason why it was stuck in the first place, because you took the food, you killed the enzymes in it, and as you mature, your pancreas and your liver just can't keep up with the volume of cooked food that you're eating, and it throws you off. And then you have to constantly eat in order to suppress the detoxification of the stomach. So when you go on the juice and the enzymes, if you get a little rumbly and you get a little weird, you got to kind of just keep pressing through. You have to learn how to press through those moments of, the cleansing. You might feel a little uncomfortable, a little queasy. You might vomit, and when you detox, sometimes you vomit, sometimes you get diarrhea. You just got to stick through that. It's no big deal. You're not going to die, It's just going to be uncomfortable. But if you ate some bread or ate some cheese or ate something, anything, you'll stop that process. So you kind of want to just keep going, People, they won't go through that initial discomfort transition phase, and that's the downside. You have to understand it. I've read a million books, so I read a million books, and then I practiced it a lot, and then now I'm able to understand that, okay, this is just a temporary little thing when I'm fasting or when I'm on the juice. I mean, I don't even really get it anymore, but in the beginning you get it. You get a little discomfort as your body is readjusting. And so we kind of have to, in our society, we have to stay food addicts. But that's not just for the, the detoxification. It's also very psychological, emotional, subconscious. It's also environmental. You're just like at a family reunion. You're not hungry, but you eat a big pile of food anyways. Stuff like that. I went to my family reunion. Everybody was picking out. I ate a half a gallon of orange juice and enzymes, and I was really glad. I have a little thing. I don't like to be eating and talking because I just can't focus, and my digestion is on point. If you're really laughing it up and you're having good conversation, that can be kind of good too. But when it's like your family members that you haven't seen in 10 years and it's all kind of weird and there's this weird energy. If it's like your best friend and you're like having a glass of wine and you're eating cheese and crackers and you're laughing about, high school, that's a different kind of vibe than, okay, here's Aunt Edna and here's, Uncle Johnny, and it's like, I haven't seen him in like 4 years and it's like weird and you're like eating a plate of beans or whatever and it's like, it's just, it's got to be the vibe. You got to be, so it's not one right way, but when it's That's why when I would never eat when I was making food at the for Ecstatic Dance. I would serve everyone else. I would make food for like 100 people, serve everybody raw food, sometimes a little bit of cooked, just because financial reasons, and no one cared anyways. But I tried to bring as much raw food as I could. And then but I wouldn't eat. I would serve everyone. Then when I was done with all the hubbub and the serving and everything was cleaned up, then I'd be chilling. Then I'd go home and have my meal, when the vibe is the way I want it, chill. So that's just a little bit more advice. So my mission for the world is a simple little thing. It's like, hey man, I'm not trying to twist your arm and turn you into some super fruitarian, which some of them do well, some of them don't do well. It just depends. I think you got to be balanced in your life. So follow your intuition. Try to pick up as much good advice as you can from people. One thing that I love to share, and I've never seen a downside to it, is the daily juicing habit, with the enzymes, there's no downside to that, It's like you can displace the coffee. After you've done that for a couple weeks, you'll be drinking your nightly beer or your glass of wine, and you've got all those alkaline elements in there. I've had a lot of people just quit alcohol after just being on the daily juicing habit and enzymes, And if you do drink alcohol, it's really good. I don't recommend taking enzymes before alcohol because it'll kind of fuck you up, excuse my language, but after you're done with the alcohol, then you drink a glass of water and some enzymes, and you will be, you will mitigate hangovers like it ain't no thing. Enzymes are a miracle, cure-all, because enzymes do everything. Every single physiological function in your body is, happens via some kind of enzymatic reaction. And when we're young, it's great. As we mature, everything slows down. Our pancreas, our liver, gallbladder, the amylase in our mouth. We need more and more spices to get the juices flowing, And over time, you're just enzyme deficient. Then the way we eat with all the mostly cooked food all the time and the highly processed food with all of the different preservatives and additives, which are enzyme inhibitors, that is where we get blocked up, chubby, cellulite, overweight, rubber, sticky, stuck on the body, and then it stretches the skin out. And the way that you get the skin to come back is you take the enzymes and the raw foods, because the people they do calorie deficit, but with the food that is cooked. I was going to say dead food, but I try to be more, I don't want to criticize people because I know this life is a beast, okay? And I'm not here to put anyone down. I'm just here to, nurture somebody with my crazy ass ideas of I've been juicing every day for 32 years and I love it. Carrot juice, cucumber juice, parsley, apples, ginger, turmeric, lemons, pears, coconuts, pineapples, mint, arugula, cilantro's amazing, grass, all this grass, you can just juice it, And that, when you take the coconut water and the grass, that is a blood transfusion. That grass is going to separate those red blood cells. And it's going to try to start penetrating so that you can get off the coffee, the energy drinks, and the stimulants, so that you can have natural circulation to the brain and to your reproductive organs as well, but to the whole entire body, because it's all one circulatory system. And the watershed areas that are connected to the most microscopic blood vessels that only carry one cell of oxygen, those close up first. So your sensitivity begins to diminish as you age over time. Has nothing to do with chronology, but it has to do with our society and the types of things that we imbibe in. that shuts down those microscopic blood vessels. The other thing too is the things that the pediatricians. So we start off and we go to the pediatrician, and then they load us up with all those synthetic toxins, and then our body begins to produce an immune response, immunoexcitotoxicity, and then we begin automatically to build the protein plaquing, the fibrin, to protect from these inimical substances that are detrimental to cellular biology, and so the body throws up that protection. So it starts on day one. I mean, we live in an insane asylum, and so I'm the one just trying to share the antidote to the best of my ability, which is just hydration, liquid, detoxification, mineralization, conductivity, sunlight, fresh air, enzyme activity, herbs for cleansing, keeping the GI tract in a good shape so you can produce all the neurotransmitters and steroids that you need to feel decent and function. And as you get more and more coagulated and clogged up in the GI tract, and those microorganisms that are dysbiotic are pooping out all that waste, your brain gets all fuzzy and you get depressed. That's why the world is so full of hate right now, confusion and anger and vitriol, and everyone's mad as hell. I'm not mad as hell. I'm not mad at anyone. I don't hate anyone. I'm not afraid of the surveillance state. I don't care about the politicians. I'm not afraid of the globalists. The world is not going to end. I'm not afraid of climate change. I have no fear. You know? I mean, I look forward to death. I was at the beach laying there. I was like, I can't wait to die. Until then, I'm going to live a great life, I guess. Hopefully. I don't know, maybe. It's all God's now, you know, to the best of my ability. That's been surrendered. So this thing with the juice and the enzymes and the pyridine, you know, that's just a little gift that I've got given to me to give to society, which is like, hey, man, I'm a pothead, I'm an alcoholic, I'm a coke addict, I'm a sex addict, I'm dehydrated, I have arthritis, I have diabetes, you know, more so leaning over towards the mineral-rich, you know, green juices, some seaweeds, you know, some shilajit, and then walking, you know, drink the juice, blast the enzymes, and go to work. If you've got candida and parasites, get the herbal blood and blast that. If your colon has been clogged up and you've got the poochy, you know, small intestine, because the large intestine can be cleaned with colonics, believe it or not. It's harder to clean out the small intestine. That's where the cleanse comes in. That's where any of the herbs that come in that are gonna, you know, break that up. That's where the fruit comes in, the juice. It goes into the stomach, slowly leaks into the small intestine, and works its way through there, breaking up the junk on the walls. But there's a lot of blockages along the walls of the small intestine. A lot of hardened masses of mucus, and then you got the poochy gut sticking out. That's why these dudes, all that stuff is just sitting in a big old giant gut. And the ladies too, it's the pooch that hangs down. So if you get on the juice, the enzymes, the herbal blood, the cleanse, and then you re-inoculate with the probiotics, that'll start cleaning up your gut. You'll be like, hey, I'm actually feeling a lot better. You know, and then you try to give up all your drugs and all your stimulants if you can. I'm nobody's judge. I've been through it all. But the more of that stuff I get rid of, the better I feel. You know, now I'm just addicted to food, which is basically salt and fat. You know, so that's my great sin. And many people would be like, well, that's no big deal, but it just depends on where you're at, you know. But I use the fat to stay balanced. So I'm not really that out of balance. It's just a couple of days ago I was lonely and I just overate for 2 nights in a row. And I was just, I really felt it, you know. And so it's hard not to overeat, because that's my little thing, is food. And it's like goes all the way back to my childhood. You know, that's my nurturing that I get. And because I didn't get that as a child, you know, my mom was a young woman and traumatized and abused, and I just didn't get the nurturing. I crave it now, but I won't accept it. I've had all these women, I'll love you back to life, but my subconscious wasn't ready. I got to kind of somehow find a way to trick that mechanism. But anyway, so that's where the weed, and that's where the drugs, and that's where the gambling, and that's where the porn and the sex and the jerking off to OnlyFans 3 times a day, and everything under the sun that people do to not have to feel that sadness and stuff. But really, you take the juice, you take the enzymes, and you just be like, the sadness is going to come up, and I'm just going to embrace it. I'm going to try to get through this thing. I know I've been doing it for forever, so it's like, well, if it doesn't work for you, DTM. But it's been a slow and steady process of transfiguration, and I wouldn't go back, and I wouldn't trade places with anyone. Even though I'm still dealing with the core wound and the offsets of that, I'm just not going to give up. I mean, I have nowhere else to go. But that's also the reason why I say I can't wait to die, because then have a relief from the little gremlin that's always attacking me. But I've learned to build up on top of that. Hey, I love myself. I'm doing the best I can. I'm sober. 'Cause I said that in the last video, and they were like, what do you mean sober? I mean, it's just like salt. And then every once in a while I do the ding dong thing, which for me is the hot peppers. For some people, the hot peppers are fine. For me, they irritate the hell out of me. I'm on a yogi path, and they just zippity zappity my brain, and I just need smooth, easy juices. I need like coconut water, coconut meat, avocados, apples, oranges, watermelon, the occasional salad. The problem with the salads and me is that I'll throw this on there and then throw this on there. Then the next thing you know, it's just this crazy combination, Remember to soak your nuts and seeds and activate them and wash off the phytates and the enzyme inhibitors. If you're going to eat grains, beans, nuts, and seeds, and you're not going to make sure you're soaking and sprouting and culturizing them, then make sure you get the Lifezyme and take that, because that's got the phytase in it. That way it'll keep those phytic acids from ripping your guts to pieces. I mean, Paradigm is the gut healing company. I'm super stoked to be associated with them. It's a huge blessing. I got blasted, and they ruined my gut at the hospital. And then I had to take a couple of years with the Paradigm and raw food and learn how to regenerate my gut. So now I have a good gut, and I'm a lot more happier than I've been consistently. Now that little gremlin is still in there, but I've learned to be like, okay, maybe I can get it, maybe I can't. Ultimately, I guess I'm waiting on God's grace, because I've worked my ass off for like 25 years. And before that, I was doing a lot of healthy stuff too, but then it became this thing where I'm going to heal myself. And I don't even know if you can heal. I don't even know if anything's wrong, to tell you the truth. But all this healing, this obsession with healing, has got me to be pretty goddamn healthy. A lot of energy. Feeling pretty good, good cardio, good life. So I'm at home now, and I'm going to go in, and I'm going to relax, drink a glass of water. It's been a long day at the beach, and I'm going to keep this little video train rolling, because we are collecting that Google AdSense, kids, and I'm doing my duty over at the Paradigm. We started that company 13 years ago, as a matter of fact, a couple of days ago, 13 years ago, and it's been a huge blessing in my life in a million different ways, and I've had so many testimonials. I wish I could get some of them on tape. That would really help. The people that use the enzymes and the probiotic the most is, people over the age of 35 whose digestion is it's starting to falter. Secondarily are people with digestive disturbances, different types of gastrointestinal illnesses. Those are the secondary group of people that use the probiotics, the enzymes. And then the herbs also, with the cleanse and the herbal blood. So it's herbs and enzymes, And then there's the food, which is the natural protein, which is like my favorite, because I know it's the cleanest, because I know Dave, and he's doing the testing, and they test it on the way in, and then they formulate it, and then they test it on the way out. And it takes some time to do that, and a lot of effort. and they have an amazing facility that's super clean, super high levels of testing. So it's even better than organic, because when it's organic, they only have to test every 20 batches to get the USDA organic seal. So a lot of stuff can slip through, and a lot of companies have. And Mike Adams, who runs the mass spec at his laboratory and tests all the food and stuff, gave Paradigm the A+++ rating, which is as high as you can get, obviously, you know. And many of the other companies that he tested for all these supplements, now I know a lot. I never say anything about it because I actually have friends that work for some of these other companies, and they're affiliates for them, and they have the marketing and the pyramid marketing. That's not what Paradigm is, but they have really low quality stuff, you know. But Paradigm is way the hell up there. Super clean, super pure, super powerful, super useful antidote for all the hogwash of this society that's ass backwards and upside down for profit, for the population control, for the dumbing down of the people. And I'm just trying to do my best. Like, if you drink juice and you wash the brain sand out and you get rid of that wax rubber before it turns calcareous, and you clean out all those biofilms and you kill off the parasites and all the candida and stuff that's causing all those cravings, and you get your gut to be where it's more of a Garden of Eden, you know. And so Paradigm is a part of that. And then fresh, whole, natural, in season and local foods that are super fresh, popping with life energy, that have that electrical conductivity flowing through it, that aren't poisoned and haven't been through any of these weird processes. So the more organic fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds that you can eat, the nuts and seeds have to be properly prepared. I will make a video on that soon, you know, so that everything is properly prepared. You wash off all the inhibitors and then you're fine. But if you just boil everything, the beans and the rice, and you just eat the nuts and seeds plain, that's what rips everybody up. So some of these influencers are on the right track. Gundry or whatever, almonds are bad for you, but actually they're good for you if they're properly prepared, like nature would. Like the animals would wait until it rained and until the almonds sprouted, then they would eat it, because the animals are smarter than the humans, you know. So anyways, I'm going to keep blasting you with videos to collect that Google AdSense, to hopefully be a blessing, to hopefully, I don't know if this is my purpose or not. I have a whole nother thing behind the scenes, and it's a lot more quieter. There's nothing there. There's no thoughts. There's no beliefs. There's only just what I call God, and that's my little happy place. But then I think the people, they say, oh, DTM, you know, I'm dying over here. I got the cancers. I'm fat. I'm miserable. I'm addicted. I'm strung out. I feel terrible. I am depressed. The doom and gloom on the internet, you don't have to have that. It's doom and gloomy. I don't know if it's just the internet, but you do see it out here in the real world. But, you know, even if you've been through the hard life and you've got the gremlins from the childhood, they're like, you're not good enough, you know. You can still just be like, I'm happy. I got 2 legs. I'm stoked, you know. I've got this bed on the floor. You know, I have a mattress topper, and I have a sheet that's pretty soft, but it has holes in it, you know. And I need to get a new one soon. But I thank God for the sheet. Thank God for the sun. Thank God for each other. Thank God for the cooler. Thank God for the truck. Thank God for the shirt. Thank God for the sunglasses that are just a prop. People are like, why do you wear sunglasses? I don't. I only do it for the videos. It's a character thing, and it makes it fun for me. And I do this, and I had these on yesterday. Why do you wear sunglasses? It's bad for you. I never wear sunglasses unless I'm on a video. There's my secret. It's fun. It's props. It's a game. It's a drama. But do you want to try it? Do you want to try drinking a fresh 32-ounce juice with a handful of enzymes? I mean, let's see what happens. You know, if it hurts you, then you can be, screw this guy, he's a dick. Or if you're like, wow, actually, I felt really great today. And then a few days of that, and you take this big monstrous crap, and you feel like, oh my God, I just pooped out all the resentments against Uncle Harry and Aunt Edna for stealing my lawnmower. And it's like, you ate cookies and bread and stuff to stuff all those feelings down. But now you released all that through the enzymes and the cleanse and the juicing. And you're like, you had to sit there and hold space for yourself. But then, bam, you take this giant crap, or you go get like a colonic and just wash it all out of there. Wash all those emotions, all that crusty junk. I love it, man. I love living foods, fresh foods, natural, plain, simple, eat like a peasant, live like a king. I'm a huge fan. If everyone just had, one juice and a handful of enzymes, just try it for a few weeks. Watch what happens. You'll be like, I'm stoked. You'll be stoked, You don't have to be the perfect little anything, but you can just try some kind of good daily habit to get hydrated, to stay motivated, energized, mineralized, to keep your cells functioning optimally, okay? So they breathe with the circulation. You have a great day. You leave me a comment and give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next video. God bless you.